What up, travelers? Thank you for joining me once again for another Travel Tip Tuesday. So in today's video, I'm taking a bit of a break from public city bus transportation because I haven't had a chance to go film the scenes that I need for the following video that I want to do. So we're going to do something a little different today and talk about another form of transportation that is really common here. So what you're seeing on the screen, if you know what we call these things here in Peru, either because you're Peruvian or you've traveled to Peru, write it down in the comments below so that I know what it's called. And if you don't know what these things are called here in Peru, you probably know them by another name because they're common, especially in a lot of Southeast Asian countries. You also see them a lot in some parts of Europe, but the use is usually not the same as here in Latin America. They're very common in Latin America. So here in Peru, we call these kinds of vehicles mototaxis. Moto coming from motorcycle and taxi from taxi, right? So this is what we call them here, is mototaxi, but you probably know them maybe as tuk-tuks or tuk-tuks, whatever you want to call them. And Wikipedia said that they're called something like rickshaw, auto rickshaw, or something like that. But we call them mototaxis here. So that is how you should refer to them when you want to use them here in Peru and you're speaking to Peruvian. And mototaxis are commonly found in a lot of developing districts here in Lima. So you will not see them in Miraflores and San Isidro. You may see them in some parts of downtown Lima. I think you may see them in Barranco. I can't remember if I've seen one anytime soon. And you'll definitely see them in other districts, like for example, I live near Magdalena, so they're definitely in Magdalena, some parts of Pueblo Libre, I think, and the peripheral districts as well. You'll definitely see them there just because they generally tend to be a little bit poorer, so people have less money to spend, and mototaxis are a really great solution to taxis because, to put in perspective the fares that you have to pay for mototaxis versus buses and taxis. So if I were to take a bus from wherever I was at on the street and I wanted to go another 10 blocks down straight ahead on the same street, a taxi driver may charge me anywhere from 3 to 5 soles, depending on what they want to charge me, right? A mototaxi would probably charge me 1 to 150 for myself, just for myself. And if I took a bus that went along that same street for about 10 blocks, they would charge me 50 cents probably. So that's just to give you a little idea of the different fares and how they compare to one another. And mototaxis, the reason that they're so popular is, like, for example, here near Magdalena, we have this big Magdalena market. So if I were to go and do my grocery shopping there and I had a bunch of bags to carry, then if I wanted to take a taxi home to my house that's in the area, they would probably charge me anywhere from 5 to 8 soles probably. But there are so many mototaxis there because there are still a lot of people that have low income around here, that I could take a mototaxi for myself with my big bags for maybe 2 soles in the same, to the same place, right? So that is just to give you a little idea. Mototaxis do charge according to how many passengers they have, and even if you're one passenger, sometimes they'll charge you a little bit more just because you're taking a lot of big heavy stuff sometimes. So that's something to look out for. Generally they charge anywhere from 1 sol to maybe 250 or 3 soles, depending on what district you're coming from or where you live in or where you're taking this mototaxi. So for example, in my district, I live in the inner part of Lima, the little kind of heart of Lima still, so I'm still bordering nice districts like Miraflores and things like that. And so the mototaxis here in Magdalena are more expensive than, let's say, a mototaxi in San Juan del Urigancho or something, which is a district way far away where there's a lot of less poorer families, right? Or people with less income. I don't like calling them poor, but whatever, I guess you have to call it what it is, right? So that kind of gives you a perspective. If I was taking a mototaxi in Magdalena for just myself to go and come from the market without anything, the mototaxista, which is the driver of the mototaxi, the mototaxista would probably charge me 150 to 2 soles from my house to the market, which is not that far away. Maybe it's 10 to 12 blocks or something. However, if I were to go the same distance in a mototaxi that's in a poorer district, then they might just charge me 1 sol. just for the same distance. So it really just depends on where you're taking these mototaxis. And so, like I said, they're common in less developed districts. They're also common in provinces or other cities in Peru, so you'll definitely see them there. But in Lima, you'll only see them in the districts outside of Miraflores and San Isidro, and it just depends on the district, really. So they come in all shapes and sizes as well, just like buses. You'll see some nice round ones that are very just simple colored, probably have 2 colors, and that's really it. And then you'll have these really like crazy pimped out mototaxis with, I don't know, all kinds of colors and designs and lights, and sometimes the music is on blast, especially if this is a mototaxi in a poor district. Like, they usually have really pimped out mototaxis or something. Here in Magdalena, they're very simple, just clean. They have 2 different colors, and that's basically it. And mototaxis don't go really long routes, they go really short routes. So I don't know how much of a little radius they go around, but the municipality of that district authorizes these mototaxis to just work certain routes. So they can't always take you where you want to go. If they can't, then you'll have to be you're forced to take a taxi if you can't take a bus. But for the most part, they can take you a pretty long way, and it's so much cheaper than taxis, but a little more expensive than buses, obviously. Now, getting in a mototaxi is quite an experience, just because in general, drivers here are crazy, which I'm gonna make a video on. But yeah, it's kind of like getting on a, like a dune buggy or something, because you're like like hitting your head sometimes on the thing behind you or whatever, because they're going so fast. Sometimes they're competing with one another, and it can be a little scary sometimes, just because it's kind of like they're racing with each other. Like when you see in movies where everyone's like going like vroom, vroom, stepping on the gas or something, and you're like, oh shit, oh sorry, I'm gonna die. Okay, I'm trying not to cuss. I'll get to that at the end. And so sometimes it's a little scary and stuff, because it's such a tiny little vehicle and you feel so vulnerable. Like if someone were to hit you, some kind of huge vehicle were to hit your car, your mototaxi, like you could really die, And I'm not trying to scare you guys, but I'm just trying to explain to you, like, that's how it is. But I take mototaxis all the time. I just see it as, well, not all the time, but if I have to choose between a taxi and a mototaxi to go to the same place, then definitely go and take the mototaxi. And so that's basically it. It's a really fast service, and it's really affordable. Now, I've spoken to a mototaxista before, and they don't make a lot of money. They work a lot of hours to try to bring home 30 to 40 soles maybe a day. And that could be one, it's probably one of the reasons why they're so aggressive sometimes with picking up passengers. So for those of you that have seen my video on Alternative Peru, where I visited these poor districts and stuff, like before that I used to really haggle a lot, because that's what I learned was the norm here, and it's perfectly acceptable. And I would like get frustrated if people try to charge me like way more than what I was supposed to, because I was like, no, you're charging me, you're taking advantage of me. But since visiting those communities, like now I understand it from talking to these people and really understanding like they don't really make a lot of money to begin with. Like I mean, of course, sometimes I get upset that they're trying to be slick or whatever and they're trying to charge me more, but then I'm just like, you know what, whatever, you probably need it more than me, so here you go. So with that, if you ask someone for advice, like, hey, how much will a mototaxi charge me to get from here to there? And they tell you, oh, it's this much, and then you stop a lot of mototaxis to ask about, how much they're going to charge you, and they tell you a little bit more. Like if it's 1 sol more, like just go for it, just do it, because these people, they need work. They need work, so let's just be generous. Those are my thoughts on that. And I just feel like, I'm just going to give this out and I'll get more stuff in return. So those are my views on that, but it's up to you if you want to haggle until you get the right price. Now, I've really noticed that in some districts, like in Chorrillos or Magdalena and stuff, they have these mototaxi stops. So they have these actual designated stops where mototaxis are supposed to pick up and drop off passengers. or pick them up, I think, only. But essentially, as you're walking along the street, you can stop a mototaxi at any time, just like a regular taxi. So I'm not too sure whether we should be picking them up, taking the taxis at the stops or not. But yeah, I still managed to take them from wherever I'm at, so that's something else. So we've discussed the shapes, colors, conditions that these mototaxis come in. We've discussed the prices, where you find them, like the different districts, what an adventure it can be when you get in them. You know, and what else? Not all of them are crazy drivers, by the way. Some people are really cool and chill, you know. But it just depends on who your driver is that day. Oh yeah, by the way, if you happen to see any mototaxis that have like a back end trunk or boot kind of piece, do not put your luggage there or your bags or anything there, okay? Anytime you want to take a mototaxi and you have bags that you're carrying, you take your bags with you within the car. Do not put them in the back. Years ago, when I went to Huaraz in the mountains with a partner of mine, he wanted to put our stuff in the back, and I was like, dude, like, do you not have common sense? If we stop at a light or something, someone's gonna come and pick our stuff up while we're in the car and we're not realizing what's going on, and then we're gonna get to our stop and our stuff is gonna be gone and we just got here and we won't have any clothes or anything. So don't do that, okay? And that's it, basically. So I've noticed that a lot of people following my channel now are Peruvians that live abroad, and they have children that haven't traveled to Peru yet. And so they're starting to watch my channel to be able to teach their kids what life in Peru is like, which I think is really cool. And, you know, I don't cuss a lot, but I have been a little more, you know, flexible with that, with profanity in the last few videos or months and stuff, just because you know, I do use bad words occasionally. I try not to make a habit of them because I believe in energy and I don't want to send those negative vibes out there. So I try to be good about my potty mouth, but sometimes it just comes out. And I do try to keep in mind that there are young people that do watch me, so I don't want to influence people in that way. So I just want to do a little bit better about not cursing as much, although the Peruvian slang videos kind of require cursing. And I'm not going to go to the trouble of beeping stuff out because that's just too much work, people. Like, y'all don't even know how much work goes into these videos. So what I want to say, basically, if you're still watching, is that thank you so much to the Peruvians watching my channel. I'm really starting to notice that even though this video was, this channel was originally intended for tourists, like gringos, you know, I've really noticed that there are a lot of you guys that are just like me before I returned to Peru, that really didn't know much about Peru, and you want to learn about Peru because you feel like you need to learn about your culture, where you come from, where you want to teach your kids about Peru. So I'm gonna do my best to try to, oh snap, I keep like touching the mic, sorry. So it's gonna like mess up the audio, but I'm gonna do my best to try to share with you guys what life in Peru is like and the culture is like, within like what's comfortable for me. Because I get comments for like food videos, and y'all know I'm vegan, so I don't know about this. But anyway, I just wanted to say I really appreciate this new kind of demographic of like people that are coming to watch me, and I'm really glad that I can count on your support. So if you have liked this video, like it with a thumbs up from wherever you're watching it from. Comment, leave me comments, because when you guys like and comment on my videos and when you subscribe, that totally helps me out a lot, because YouTube sees that there's engagement on my videos and they're more willing to show my videos or my channel off to other people so that they can find me. And definitely share this video with people that you think will benefit from the information, or share my channel, because that really helps me out a lot. Like, I'm one person, I can't do it all, so I can't be posting my video to a bunch of other places for people to find me. Like, I need your help, I really do. So if you can do me a big favor by sharing these videos with your family and friends, especially if you're Peruvian, you know, support fellow Peruvian here and tell your whole family, be like, yo, we need to support our chola, you know, subscribe to her channel on YouTube. And so that would, you know, really mean a lot to me. I really appreciate that. So I'm really sorry that this video is long. I can't keep these videos short. I don't know why. I talk so much. I swear, when you guys have the chance to meet me in person, you will see I talk a lot. And we can just spend hours together. So anyway, thank you so much once again for your time. It really does mean a lot to me that you take time out of your day to watch me and whatever I ramble about. So I will see you guys soon. Hopefully I have the military parade stuff on Thursday. We'll see. Keep my fingers crossed because it's a really long video, which I'm making especially long because, as I said, I've noticed that a lot of Peruvians kind of want to feel connected to Peru through me in a way. So I really wanted to make it very long and show them as much of the parade as possible so that they can kind of feel like they were there. So anyway, that's it. I'm done. I'll see you guys on Thursday. Bye.